What's up, everyone? This is Brad coming at you from the land of Moo with your NFL Week 6 predictions. Starting off, we have my New York Giants versus the unbeaten New England Patriots on Thursday night. Gee, that sounds familiar. Now, while I predict the Patriots will most likely win this game, I think it'll be super close, and who wins depends on some key factors, which leads me to a segment I like to call Truth Bullets. Shout out to my brother Jamie for the idea. Bullet number one and most important in this game is defense is key. The last 3 weeks, the Giants have had the second best red zone defense in the league behind only the 49ers, allowing only 20% of red zone trips to end in touchdowns compared to the Patriots' 50%. However, the Patriots' defense has caused the most turnovers in the NFL so far and has not given up a single passing touchdown at all, which is scary good. The second bullet point is capitalizing on opportunities. Last week against the top 5 defense in the Vikings, the Giants had 4 or 5 touchdown opportunities missed in the game that could have kept them in the game. Another top 5 in the Patriots, they cannot miss those rare opportunities if they want to win this game. Third bullet is a big one, Saquon Barkley. I feel like if the Giants don't have Saquon Barkley against the Patriots, then their chances of a win are almost zero. The Giants are without backup Wayne Gallman, and last week without him, the Giants only had 35 rushing yards from the third and fourth string back, which is awful. With that being said, I think it will be a close game, and I'm predicting the score of 21-14 Patriots. Next up is the Panthers and Tampa Bay. Since losing Cam Newton, the Panthers have been on a hot streak, and Christian McCaffrey has looked unstoppable, while their backup quarterback Kyle Allen has played mistake-free football, allowing their top 10 defense to go to work to put games away. On the other side of the ball, we have Jameis Winston and the Bucs. So far this year, it seems that Bruce Arians has done it again, bringing out the talent of Jameis Winston. A lot of people questioned if he had. Backed by the twin rushing attack of Jones and Barber. I think where this game differs greatly is the defense. If Tampa's defense can shut down McCaffrey, which they have shown to be capable of, being the second best rushing defense in the NFL, I think the Buccaneers will open it up for Shaq Barrett in that front seven to wreak havoc on young Allen and force him to beat them under duress and huge pressure. I have Tampa Bay winning at home 27-14. Next up is our first battle in the Tank Bowl battles of 2019. We have the Redskins versus the Dolphins. And as bad as the Redskins are, there are no Dolphins. The Redskins are finally going to have a game to actually get back on track after getting thrown the last 2 weeks. I have the Redskins winning, 30-7. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints in Jacksonville. And I know a lot of people are hot on Gardner Minshew and think he's some kind of great quarterback. I'm not one of them. I think people only like him because of his mustache, because he looks like an 80s porn star, but I digress. I think the Saints defense is going to expose the young quarterback and show the entire NFL what his weaknesses are, while the Saints rushing attack is going to run all over the Jacksonville defense. The Jacksonville defense last week gave up a ton of rushing yards to Christian McCaffrey, so I think Alvin Kamara is going to have an absolute field day against them. I think the final score will be 27-10 Saints. Next up is the Bengals in Baltimore. I think this is a pretty easy one. The Bengals are pretty trash this year. I see the Ravens putting up like 40 points on them. 40-3 is the final score. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks visiting the Cleveland Browns. The Browns showed on Monday that they're still the same Cleveland they've always been. Baker Mayfield is awful. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL so far this year, even getting benched in the fourth quarter, so who knows if he's even going to play. But the only redeemable member of the offense has been Chubb, and the poor guy has no help around him since they traded their best offensive lineman for Odell Beckham Jr., who's done absolutely nothing for this offense. Certainly not led to any wins. I think the Seattle's young defense is going to have an absolute feast on Baker Mayfield until he gets benched inevitably. But I see Seattle putting up 35 points to Cleveland's 3. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the Minnesota Vikings. While I think this is going to be a very, very close game, these two games are very, very close in similarity. One has a slightly better offense, one has a slightly better defense. I feel like the difference is going to come at quarterback. Carson Wentz is a much better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. I think Carson Wentz takes care of the ball better, and I think the Eagles' defense will hold Kirk Cousins to enough points to allow the Eagles to slip by and win 21-14. Next up, we have my pick for game of the week. We have the Texans and the Chiefs. I think if this is earlier in the season, I think I would have the Chiefs probably winning handily. But the Texans and Deshaun Watson have shown they are just as good, if not better, than Kansas City. In the last 2 weeks, Kansas City has been exposed on offense as not being able to handle man coverage. The Chiefs have even admitted so. So we'll see how they handle it this week, because you know the Texans are going to be running man defense against them because they've seen how it's worked the last 2 weeks. Against the Lions, Mahomes didn't even have any touchdowns. But it is Patrick Mahomes, so he can pull off some magic, but so can Deshaun Watson. I have this as a high-scoring game. I have the Texans winning 40-35. Next up, we have a game that's kind of the opposite. Instead of two amazing teams facing off against each other, we have two pretty bad teams facing each other. I don't know what's happened to Matt Ryan and the Falcons, but they have completely fallen off and have just looked awful this year. While the Cardinals are under a new coach and a new quarterback, and they're having growing pains. I see Atlanta probably choking this one away. I like Kyler Murray. I think he's pretty good. Their offensive line's not very good, which is unfortunate, but they do have Larry Fitzgerald, who has had a pretty good year so far. I think they'll just edge out the Falcons 21-19. Next up, we have an absolute barn burner, which is the 49ers versus the Rams. This is going to be a really, really good game unless Jared Goff doesn't show up to play like he has a few times this year. I think the 49ers are absolutely as good as the record shows, as much as people like to sleep on them. But I think the Rams aren't as bad as people give them credit for. I think Jared Goff is having an off year, but I don't think he's bad. I think it's going to be a close game, high-scoring game, but I feel like the 49ers defense is going to absolutely whip up on and cause a lot of turnovers on the offense of the Rams. So I have the 49ers winning 30-24. Next up, we have the Titans versus the Broncos. And as far as I know from watching That's Good Sports, the Broncos have not been very good this year. I haven't really paid attention to them at all. But I know the Titans have a really good defense and have a pretty decent running game, though Marcus Mariota has been questionable this year. I think the Titans will edge it out. I think the Titans are good enough to win. I believe Bradley Chubb is out with an injury for the season, so that's not going to help the Broncos at all. I feel like this will be a pretty, not easy game, but I think they'll win handily, the Titans. I think their rushing attack will do some major damage to them. I have the Titans winning 21-10. Next up, we have another thrashing with the Cowboys versus the Jets. Unfortunately, that means Cowboys fans are once again going to be talking like they won the Super Bowl when they've beaten a bad team. But, yeah, this is going to be ugly. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to go off. Dak Prescott's going to look like Patrick Mahomes. The Cowboys winning 35-7. Next up, we have the Chargers and Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have looked like their old selves recently. I know they lost last week, but it was in overtime to a field goal. I think they're going to be really, really good this week. I think the Chargers have fallen off from where people expected them to be. They're not awful. Like, their defense is pretty decent, but I don't think that they're going to do much against the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to have a really good game, a really good bounce-back game after losing to their rivals last week. I have the Steelers winning 21-10. Finally, we have the Monday Night Football game of the NFC North. We have the Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions. Honestly, I don't think the Lions are as good as they've seemed so far. Yeah, they played really well against the Chiefs, but I think that's because they figured out their weakness before anybody else did, man coverage. I think the Packers are legit this year. I think Aaron Rodgers has a real shot at winning the Super Bowl again. And they actually has a defense and a good running back. They destroyed the Cowboys last week despite what the score looks like, and they look absolutely vicious right now. While the Lions have looked just okay, they look like they've been kind of getting away with a lot of things and winning games that they probably shouldn't be. Well, yes, that maybe seemed like they're a good team, but I think the Packers are going to expose them this week. I have a final score of 30-20. That was it for my Week 6 predictions. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.